Hello, good morning and welcome to vlog number 4, in which I tell you about my previous work experience. Okay, so I wrote down notes that I don't forget anything, and considering that I think about myself that I don't have work experience yet, this is a pretty long list of things I've already done. And since it's such a long list, we don't have time to lose, let's get into it. My first ever job I had here in Klagenfurt at the town hall. I was an intern for the IT department. That was in the summer of 2008. Now, it's not like I wanted to do this job. It's also not like I needed the money. It's more that for my school, I needed to do internships. 2 of them. So I had to start somewhere. The things I did at this job were standard intern things. I don't think I ever brought coffee. The things I do remember doing were watching others try and fix problems at the printers. I also remember at one point I had to install a fan because it was hot in summer. That's what I remember. I also remember that at some point they sent me to the storage. Like, it was just a room on the attic that nobody ever goes to, but they had, you know, papers and shit there, and I don't know what I did there, but I remember that I had to carry stuff. I think they wanted me to organize some things or make space or something. I don't even know anymore, but it was a shitty job. I remember going there all enthusiastic and shit, and my first task, because the guy literally had no idea what to do with me, the first task was internet research on an office product. So I had to Google shit. If I were in the unfortunate situation of doing that job today, I would probably quit after the 2nd day. Like, seriously, I currently consider myself too good for this. But back in the days, I didn't have much choice. I needed to do something. I didn't even know how I got that job. Really, I think my mom set me up with it, because she knows someone there and whatever. In that 1 month that I worked there, I earned something between 400 and 500 euros. Which is not a lot if you consider that, you know, I've been working from 8 till 5 every weekday. Except Fridays. I think Fridays were shorter. But it was the classic office job you just need to. And from that first job experience I have my I'm never gonna do this again. I really did not enjoy my first job. Next year, in summer of 2009, I had a much better job. I got an internship at the University of Klagenfurt. Right over there. I'm pretty sure that I found out about that job myself, and then I applied for it and I got in. So there I worked at the, what was the institute's name? Something along the lines of information technology, but also something with mathematics. So it was the institute that does the computer science course and others. And for the computer science course they had some software thing that simulates the software development process. And I worked on that. The cool thing of working there was that my superiors were university professors, and they wanted to also teach me something while I was there, not just make me work. And so that's why I learned about UML diagrams there. So then later, when I learned about UML in school, I wasn't that interested in it anymore. And then later, when they taught it at university, I was getting really pissed off because I've heard it so many times already. I coded in Java on a visualization tool. Yeah, I think I was working on a visualization tool for that software development simulator thing. I actually enjoyed this job. It came with some perks. For instance, at one day there was a party at the university campus, so I just stayed late in office until like 9 p.m. and then I just went down to university, and so I had a free entry to the party. Anyway, I also earned around 500 euros at that job. It was, again, a month. And back in the day, that was a lot of money for me as well. Because I didn't pay for food, I didn't pay for accommodation. So I basically had an additional 100 euros per week that I could just spend. I didn't, I saved it, to then later lose it. But yeah, that was a pretty nice job, I really liked it. The next one I have on the list is not really a job per se. I want to mention it anyway. In 2010, at the same university here in Klagenfurt, there was an AntMe competition. AntMe is a programming simulation tool which is supposed to help you learn how to program, and they had a challenge of who builds the best AntMe colony. I accepted the challenge and I programmed my own thing, and I ended up winning that competition at the university and receiving 700 euros. That's why I want to mention it, because I got some money. And because I knew how much I worked on it, approximately, I calculated that that's about 15 euros that I made an hour. Not that bad. I mean, it can also go wrong. If I don't win the competition, then I invested all the working hours for nothing. But it was fun for me to program it anyway. I saw it more of a nice game. So yeah, that was cool. My third real job was for a small company in Upper Austria. My English teacher hooked me up with that guy because he was doing some games for education. Another fun fact here, one of the reasons why I also wanted to work for that company is because the guy I was working for actually was also a teacher, and he taught at the same school as the dad of the girl that I had a crush on back in the days. And so because the company was in Linz, it gave me a reason to travel to Linz for the company and then visit that girl. Yeah, didn't work so well with her. Anyway, for that company I developed an Android app. It also gave me the perk of getting an Android phone because I didn't have one. I had a company phone then. Company phones. And that was the first time when I really experienced the perks of working for a company. They just provide you with shit and they pay for your travels, they pay for the train to Linz. It was all pretty nice. And it was also nice because I could just work whenever I had time to work. I continued working for them while I was at school. I then even did my final year project at school with that company. The whole Back Me Up project was for that company. I was still working with them when I went to university, but I stopped pretty early because university was just too demanding. It was just all too much, and so I had to. And that was the first time I quit the job. At summer, after my first year of university, I started working for them again. I did this small project. I think I was crawling data again for them. I don't quite remember, but it was something with the Facebook API. While working for this company, I figured out that interesting thing. The more efficient you are with your work, the more you actually get paid per hour. Because they have a set price for the project that they're willing to pay, and how much I work on it is on me. So if I'm quick at developing, then I need to work less. And that was quite cool. The next job I had was another one I really liked. And again, I was working for a university. This time, my own one. Graz University of Technology. In my second year of studies, I was a study assistant for the first years. And I was one of about 6 students that were taking care of the exercises for Grundlagen der Informatik, so basics of computer science. Our tasks were to come up with the exercises, present those to the students, and then also hold some presentations to repeat the things from the lecture, answer the students' questions to the exercises, then grade the exercises of the students, and conduct the final interviews where we basically check if they did the exercises themselves. I basically liked all of the things except for the correcting the exercises. So much work. But no, actually this job really was a gold mine. It was so well paid. Usually those study assistant jobs are not well paid. I was just really lucky with getting into that one. I think I was paid for 5 hours a week, and I definitely did not work that much. Especially considering that most of the things I like doing anyway. I like to help the other students. I like to present for them. And that was also the first time I experienced that I was an authority. That I was like higher than the other students because I can give them grades. That was like super amazing for me. I felt so cool. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's why I mentioned that part in the previous vlog, because it just felt so good. As I said, the only thing was correcting the exercises. There was just one weekend that I had to invest to work on that. But then after that weekend, it was all done. And I just had the fun things to do. So yeah, it was a very nice job. I really liked it. And because I had the opportunity, I did the same thing again the year after. I also added another one. So I became a study assistant of computer graphics as well. This one wasn't that well paid. See, I changed the lighting just for that sentence. It were like 2 hours per week. But it was still okay because it was also fun. I was so sad that I had to give up on my job for the basics of computer science though, because I went to Bristol. I couldn't continue doing it anymore. After I came back from Bristol, I couldn't get that job back. But I could do another year of computer graphics. But we're already getting ahead of ourselves. In summer of 2013, I had another job. I worked for Google Summer of Code 2013. One perk of this job is that I now forever have Google in my CV. I didn't directly work for Google though. I basically worked for my university again. The Institute for Software Technology. They developed an app that is supposed to teach children to program. It's now called Pocket Code, I think. Back in the day it was CatRobot. So basically Google Summer of Code is where Google sponsors open source projects. So they basically pay people to develop open source. So I wrote an application for that project. I sent it literally on the last possible day. I think even in the last possible hour. But I made it in time and I even got accepted and then I could work the summer long. I don't have many memories of that, but one memory is that I was coding at the airport. I don't know which one, but I was oh, that might have been the summer that I went to Romania. Same thing again. I tried to work as little as possible while still satisfying my client, which was the supervisor at Pocket Code, and I managed. I got the money. I was happy. I think it was $3,000 that I earned. I basically developed another block. I think something with the camera, but I'm not even sure anymore. And I don't think it ever made it in the actual release version, because as soon as I was done with Google Summer of Code, they wanted me to continue working on it, but I was like, I'm not getting paid anymore. I'm not gonna continue working for nothing. So I think it never made it in the application. Although I remember that every day I pulled from the Git all the newest changes so that my version is still compatible with the newest version on the Git. I was just staying on my branch, and then the branch died apparently. I don't care. I got my money and I learned a bit of Android coding. Holy shit, this video is getting long and I still have things to say. So I mentioned that I was in Bristol. I studied for a year at Bristol University. And because I paid my accommodation for the full year, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna stay the summer in Bristol, of course. And so I wanted to find a job there. But I didn't even really search for a job. The job just came to me. And that's something that is a trend in my life. The jobs just keep coming to me and I say, yes, I want to do that, and no. I had one lecture about neuroscience and the professor said something along the lines of, if you're interested in an internship in summer, let me know. I have some projects that I need students for. And I was like, interesting. So I was super motivated to do a good job in the practicals of that lecture, which I did. And then I came to him and asked what kind of offers he has. So then in summer I was a research assistant at Bristol University, and I basically performed sleep stage analysis in Python. I know that I visualized a lot of things, and I know that I quite liked it as well, because again, it was working from home, doing whatever. If I want to do whatever, I can just go to the city, enjoy Bristol. And then I coded some Python, and my supervisor seemed to be happy with my work. And I was like, I did work so little for that and he's already happy, so yes, good. I don't quite remember what I got for that, but I do remember that I was like, yes, that's about £20 an hour. So the trend is really, I like to work for universities. Maybe that's why I feel like that I don't have job experience, because it's all just for university. I mean, they pay me. Just real quick, 2 more things that I want to mention here, even though they're not technically jobs. But also in the summer of 2015, I volunteered for the Under-23s Ultimate World Championships in London. Because I was like, it's in London, I'm in England, it's close. And I really like Ultimate. So I quite like this job because they let me do so many different things. And I got to see how such a big event is set up. And they were really nice to the volunteers. So I even did it again the year after when they hosted the World Ultimate and Guts Championships in London, and I flew out there just for that. So I was actually spending money rather than getting money. But it was nice, it was a nice experience. That was more a physical kind of work, and I also really enjoyed it because it's not just sitting in front of the computer. It's just awesome to see there's a problem, we need to come up with a solution, that's how we fix it, okay, let's do it. And I particularly liked if I could bring in my own idea of how to fix it rather than just being told what to do. I'm not that much of a fan of, okay, now you bring that from there to there and then you do that, okay. But if I get a global task, fix this, I don't care how, then that's much more interesting for me. That's what I learned when volunteering for those. So I learned a lot about myself there. Also, it was nice to watch some professional Ultimate. This next one is an official job again. I was working as a freier Arbeitnehmer for Emotion, which is an Austrian company for events and stuff. Among others, they do tennis tournaments like the Mercedes Cup in Stuttgart, and where I worked, Mallorca Open. Krasche hooked me up with this job because he was working there for the past few years and he needed an assistant. So he kindly accepted me as his assistant, even though I don't speak Spanish. That was a tough 2 weeks. But in retrospect, it was kind of fun as well. But if you just do it for earning money, probably not the right thing for me. Because if you calculate how many hours I actually worked, I made less than the minimum amount that I am required to get in Austria. It was basically 10 days, 24 hours per day, except the 6 hours or so that I got to sleep. But yeah, some of those hours were fun, so you know. So I was feeling okay if I got to walk around, to carry shit, whatever. Just working in the container on the computer, I didn't like that much. Because as soon as it comes to working on a computer, I want my 20 euros per hour. and I just didn't get that there. Okay, enough about that. There are vlogs about this event, so if you're really interested, go check them out. Finally, last item on my list. This summer, well actually the past 6 months or so, I did my master's thesis with Stefan Rüger, who works at the Open University. And in our first meeting, he gave me the opportunity to also work for him. Another example of jobs just coming to me without me doing anything about it. It's in cooperation with Southampton University. They basically wanted an app that is related to the topic I was working on for my master's thesis, so it worked well. So I did develop a prototype for them, and I already got 1.5k in pounds, that is, for doing that. So again, we get to the approximately 20 pounds per hour. Not considering what I worked for as my master thesis, that's something different. And I might even get another 1.5k. We will see. I haven't heard from Stefan in a while, but I know that the budget was 3k. So that's still open. I might still continue working on that. So that's the current state. That's where we are now. That's what I did so far. Wow, was that long? I hope that this was at least somewhat interesting to you. If you're my future employer, which could be, since this is basically my CV, if you follow my vlogs, you know what I want. And if you can provide that, go let me know. Really, it's me who's picking the jobs. I'm being so cocky again. In conclusion, the important thing, once again, is that I enjoy the job. And yeah, maybe now you see why I want those 20 euros an hour. I just always manage to get those. Well, almost always manage. At least when working on software, I always manage to get that. So why would I change that? Hope you learned something as well. And otherwise, hopefully it was a bit entertaining with my story. And if not even that is the case, then I hope that you at least enjoy the view of the Wörthersee. Exactly what that boat says. Make your motivation, and then you'll see me next week. I don't even know what I'm gonna talk about next week. That's the end of what I planned. We will see. Also, leave me some comments that I can then discuss on Thursday. And this is the real Wörthersee. It's end screen time. On my end screen you can find the previous vlog and the video that YouTube wants you to watch. As always, if you like this video, I don't know, pushes my ego or something. And then I see you tomorrow in the video about Disney World Paris. Yes, that's a thing I did. That's a thing you get to see.